Hawks right now, really working to the defense, kind of probing around the inside hard. Good three up and in from Melania Stevenson, giving the Hawks an early 3-0 lead over the Bucks.
That's the name that we said in the pregame show, Melania Stevenson. I tell you, Brandon, she is just an all-star athlete. She's amazing everywhere she is on the court, and she's so good that the other team just kind of loses her at some points in time. Just showed right there, Brandon.
Quick, fast passes as the Bucks tried to make something happen there. Rebound down in favor of the Hawks. Number 10, Brianna Ben, comes in with her first rebound this evening. And as we're taking a look, welcome to the show. This is YouTube Live, Hillsboro Hawk TV Sports. My name is Brandon Scott, joined by Mr. Ben Tilley, as we are kicking off game one of a Wednesday night doubleheader here for college basketball, live from Tampa and the Dale Mabry campus of Hillsboro College. And there's number 0, Miss Nina Green. Hard defense there, working on number 24, Kiera Harris, from the visiting Florida Southwestern Bucks. Goes up and in for 3 for number 2, Miss Chelsea Bishop there for Florida Southwestern, tying us up at 3 apiece now, as we're just about 2 minutes into the first quarter here. Good little offensive rebound as Miss Brianna Ben works to the inside and takes a look, gets jammed up a little bit, pass to the outside to number 4 as Miss Danica Ballard put that one up, just doesn't come down. Good deep pass. So as we're watching this unfold here, hard pass to the inside, number 15 there, Miss Destiny Gordon goes up and puts 2 in, giving an early lead of 2 points to the Bucks. We talked a little bit in the pregame show, Ben, that we were wondering what kind of offenses and defenses we were going to see. Right now, it's almost an inversion of what we were talking about earlier. We thought that the defense was going to be the difference maker. Early on, the Hawks defense really forcing them to take the shots that they're not really comfortable taking, it looks like. And it's almost a completely different defensive rebounding team right now than we've seen the past couple weeks with the Hawks.
Well, that's exactly what we said last week. This defense is really going to have to work to take the pressure off the offense. What are they going to have to do? Are they going to play man? Are they going to play zone? Are they going to try and throw some wrinkles and counters to this tough Bucks team to try and see if they can, trick them a little bit, per se, on the defensive side of the ball? You wouldn't normally say that for defense, but again, what do we say all the time? Defense wins ball games. I think that's exactly what's going to happen here tonight, Brandon.
3-point attempt up. Another rebound from Miss Brianna Ben, heading back across into the Hawk side of the gymnasium here, working around. So as I'm watching, I'm seeing that the Bucks really do favor more of a zone than a man-to-man, kind of on the outside, as number 10, Miss Brianna Ben, goes up and puts in 2 of her own now, tying the game up at 5 apiece. Is this what you were looking for coming from the Hawks this evening, or the fast pace? Because this is a little quicker than we've seen.
Yeah, it is. And, I think, again, that's one of the things we talk about every single game is how the flow of the game is going to go through the first quarter or so. And I think what we're seeing right now is it's a bit fast-paced. We don't really see, panicking by either team. It's really nice, cool, calm, collected, but we see a sense of urgency. We see a sense of, hey, we need to put some points on the board early, and we really need to find out where our team stands in terms of offense. I think that's really the key for both of these offenses right now. As opposed to the defense, they're just trying to hold back, and it looks like we might have a free throw.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get a 2 for a push, as number 10, Brianna Ben, is going to line up, getting ready for her first attempts here this evening as she goes up. And one of the things that we always say whenever we're kind of looking in these situations, the 3 points and the free throws are really going to be what kind of sets apart the game, as Miss Brianna puts up and in for her first attempt, and she'll get one more here.
Try and tie the game up, Brandon.
And we have a tie ball game as she goes 2 for 2 from the line there, up to 4 points this evening. And I'm going to piggyback off of something that you were saying a little earlier, that we have a little bit of a quicker pace, as there's just a little bit of a miss time on the pass by the Bucks, and we're going to get possession change going over to the Hawks here. It's a lot quicker, but it's much more controlled than we've seen out of the Hawks. There's a lot more, we call it trusting your partner. Are they going to be in position for where you want to go with the pass? Buccaneers have done a really good job of kind of cutting off the inside, stopping the hard drives, forcing the Hawks to take a look on the outside. But right there, as we see, number 11, Miss Peyton Flournoy throws up a three-point attempt. The Hawks are no longer scared to take it to the outside, which is something new that we've seen in the last couple of games.
Yeah, and you know, I think what we've seen so far is just a sense of calmness from the Hawks.
Yes,
They finally found that comfortability to play this game of basketball, where maybe that hasn't quite been the case in the last few games. I think they finally found it here, and right now it's tied 7-7, Brandon.
And here we see that zone defense really starting to kind of push into a man-to-man, force him to the outside as number 23, Melania Stevenson, goes up for two. And now you're really kind of seeing, let's check it. Let's see what happens if I go to the inside. What happens if I shoot to the outside? How are you going to respond to that from the Bucks defense?
And that is totally fine if you're going to do a trial run, as we like to call it. If you want to try and throw those wrinkles and counters and see if you can do something, maybe just once. See if it works or not. If it works, go back to it. If it doesn't, scratch it. You don't ever have to go back to it if you don't want to. But again, you just don't want to do the same thing over and over and over again. You want to try and just throw some wrinkles and counters there when necessary to try and throw them off their game.
And it looks like we're going to have the Buccaneers come up to the free throw line here for their first attempts this evening. Number 2, Miss Chelsea Bishop, who we've mentioned a time or two, getting in on the offensive drives as well as the defensive, begins to step up.
It's a 9-7 game right now, and maybe
looks like we're going to take a timeout here. So with this timeout, we're going to go ahead and get ready to send it over to Miss Madeline Rosa for our first sideline report. Miss Madeline, take it away for us.
Maybe not quite ready for us, Brandon?
Possibly. So we'll take a little break ourselves here. And while we're sitting here, I'm really watching Coach Springs with his team right now.
Yeah.
That board is getting marked up, wiped off, everything right now. And you can see the Hawks, they are game ready. They're zoned in. They're really listening to Coach. And it's a 9-7 game. You're just under 15 minutes that you've played so far. And you mentioned earlier that you thought that points were going to be a premium based on the way that these defenses were going to play. And I think this might be the lowest first quarter that you and I have called for any of the Hawks game as we get ready to move out of the timeout and back over to the free throw line. The Buccaneers are breaking huddle there. It's almost like not a reinvigorated Hawk team tonight. I would say a refocused Hawk team.
100%. Yeah, I think that's exactly the right term for it, too. You just look at all the players out there. Danica Ballard, Ariana Vieira, Melania Stevenson, Nina Green's on the sideline right now. But, you just look at the players and you just see their calm, cool collectiveness. We just talked about it on the sideline with head coach Chris Springs. Didn't really look like they were that panicked. They were just writing stuff on the board saying, hey, maybe you need to go here. Maybe you need to go here. But it wasn't that, sense of panicness that we might have seen the last couple of games. They looked calm, cool, collected, and ready to play today, Brandon.
And getting ready to bring it back in, it looks like Miss Melania Stevenson will be on the inbound there to Miss Brianna. Really seeing, you keep using cool, calm, collected. The word that I'm going to use today is controlled. They are controlling. They're controlling their shots. They're controlling and they're keeping the hard pressure on. But much like we've seen over the past couple weeks, once they start trying to get in that position, that's when the fouls start coming around. Yeah. That's when they start playing just a little bit rougher. And when they do that, that's what puts them in danger. Because you and I have seen them lose games because of free throws.
Yeah, and that happens too. When you play with a sense of urgency, you want to feel like you want to be more physical. You want to be on top of the ball. You want to make sure you have the ball for as long as possible. That makes total sense, but when it gets to be in excess, that can start to be a problem, and that's exactly what we have seen these last few weeks. Maybe not so far tonight. Hopefully we don't see it tonight from either team. I really want a nice, clean game.
And you mentioned it, and we're talking about the physicality right there, going in under the net. Miss Melania Stevenson ripping the ball away. And as we're taking a look, refocused, re-energized, that's got to be because of, I hate to say it, kind of the losing streak they've been on here over the past little while.
Yeah, and unfortunately the Hawks have lost 4 straight games. And again, I think we've covered, 2 of those games, for Hawk TV, and this might be the 3rd one. But again, we've been seeing it throughout the entirety of the season. They're really fighting, and they don't ever give up. They don't ever throw in the towel.
You can see there, Coach Springs not happy with either the call or the defensive scheme that was happening right there, and he is making sure to let the Hawks know. And that's one thing we've always really talked about, is the way the coaches work around and the way that they're adjusting. He went to the board once, said, "This is what I want to see." Obviously, he didn't see it or didn't like what he sees, so now he's making those adjustments right there, getting their attention off from the sideline.
Yeah, and that's when you have to regroup, too. You have to be like, okay, well, that didn't really work. What else can I do to try and throw a wrinkle in a counter? And then again, you have the referees calling some fouls here early on, but you just have to be able to have that sort of creativity to try and make some plays, try and throw some wrinkles and counters. I say that word so much, but it's true. You have to be able to throw them off their game. How can the Hawks throw the Bucks off their game tonight, Brandon? That is the question that's going to be asked so much tonight. Hopefully we can answer it by the time the Hawks get the W.
One of the things that I'm really kind of focusing on is the rapid changes coming off of the benches, both from the Bucks and on the Hawks. There's a lot of fast swap-ins, swap-outs. Miss Nina Green back on the court now, going one-on-one, lined up there with Miss Kiera Harris. And that's a pretty interesting matchup there, taking a look, because as I'm watching Miss Kiera Harris, she is quick, she's fast, and she is not afraid to go down to the three-point line. So watching that matchup up and down the court with Miss Nina Green has really been, something fun to watch out here on the court tonight as we're lined up. Number 10 moving to the line, Miss Alina Breed, and looks like she are bringing the lead up to 11 points in favor of the Bucks over your local Hillsborough College Hawks here. And this is
nice. There's Melania Stevenson, Brandon. That's the young lady we were talking about in the pregame show. She is just all over the court tonight. She's going to be all over the court tonight. She's just such a great athlete. And that's not going to be the only three-pointer she makes tonight, I can guarantee you that.
Right now, she is at 8 points this evening, really helping the Hawks stay in contention with this close game. Now 14-12 as number 11, Ariel Mayer, goes up and puts up 3 to extend that lead a little bit. This is another thing that we talked about during the pregame show when we kind of got together about 15 minutes before the tip-off, was that we didn't think that the zone coverage was going to be enough to get tonight, because yes, they can control the inside, but the Buccaneers are not afraid to shoot. With a hard break by number 11, Peyton Flournoy goes up and puts 2 on the board there.
Yeah, Brandon, you absolutely nailed it. When we watched the pregame warm-ups, the Buccaneers were shooting well off to the outside, trying to focus on the three-pointer, and to no surprise, their three-pointer percentage this year is just over 35.5%, meaning they make about 7.5 and about 21 three-pointers, going into today's game. And that's a pretty respectable number, 35.5%. You look at how the Hawks are faring in that category, 28.7%, about 8.3 out of 29 or so attempts. So yeah, the Hawks really do like to shoot from the outside. The problem is they don't convert. Meanwhile, for the Bucks, they shoot from the outside, pretty often, and they do convert those three-pointers, just as we've been seeing so far tonight.
And as we're looking, it looks like possibly a travel or a double dribble. And Coach Springs really tonight is just up and down the court right here with his team and just getting it in, as now we're looking at a Hawk possession. And what I'm watching, especially on our monitor here, is the Bucks, their zone coverage for some reason just seems to be a little bit more effective at keeping the Hawks out than the Hawks have been able to do conversely on the defensive side tonight.
That's exactly right. And that sometimes happens. The defense can overpower the offense, but I mean, you look at the score right now, it's 14-14, so nothing really bad to be said about either of these teams right now. They're neck and neck with each other, which is exactly what you want in a very highly contested game, as they missed there with a little field goal shot.
And in a way, it's almost exactly what we called during the pregame show. We were anticipating the points being low, and we were really hoping to see the Hawks defense do exactly what they're doing tonight. Forcing either something out of bounds, forcing the clock to run out to make you take a shot that you're not ready for, or just to interrupt the rhythm of the offense that you've been doing. This is the type of gameplay that I think has been missing from the Hawks over the past couple weeks that we've sat down with. And seeing this, it's almost like it's easy as an athlete when you're on a 4-game streak, as we're under the first minute of play, or the last minute of play here in the first quarter. It's easy when you're on a winning streak to come in and feel like, they've dropped 2 or 3. Number 0, Miss Nina Green there puts up 2. And we've been waiting for her to kind of make an appearance out there tonight on the offensive side. But I think the Bucks came in and looked at their record, compared it to the Hawks record, and said, I don't think this is going to be so hard, and that's easy to do as an athlete when you're up 4 games without a loss.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I want to go back to something you just said, though. With the Hawks coming in, they look at the points and they just go, oh, you know what? I think we can beat these guys. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take every component with a grain of salt. You're supposed to be like, okay, this might be this might be a little tough of a matchup as we get to the end of the first quarter.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and we are going to send it over to our sideline correspondent, Miss Madeline Rosa, for a sideline report. You take it away, Miss Maddie.
Thank you, guys. As you can see, the intensity of this game has started from the very beginning. When we're 16-14, the Lady Hawks are up, and they're not taking any shortcuts tonight to make sure they bring that win home. And it's really important for them because in order to keep their position in the state tournament, they need to get ahead of this game today and be winning, because Florida State College is 1 game ahead of them because they went into overtime. So let's see what they bring. Thank you, guys. Back to you.
Welcome back to the Hillsboro Hawks Sports TV commentary desk. Now, Miss Madeline's right. This is a very closely contested game. This is, we keep saying, a possession or 2-possession game. Right now, I'm thinking that this might be one of the most evenly matched games we've seen the Hawks play, even though the statistics that you mentioned earlier might not show it as that way as we make our way back out to kick off the second quarter here.
Yeah, and again, statistics can also be misleading, but we talked about it in the intro. Florida Southwestern Bucks coming in with a record of 16-8, a winning streak of 3 games. Again, those 3 games they've only won by 4 points or less. Now, for the Hawks, 11-12. Again, their toughness does not reflect their record. They're on a losing streak of 4 games. So, of course, the Hawks want to end this, rough losing patch that they have. And this has been such a great game so far. You look at the physicality. They're not playing too physical. You look at the flowness of the game. They're flowing it really nicely. You look at the offense. You look at the defense. Things are starting to pull together there, but it looks like another tie game here. Right in the middle, right in the heart of the second quarter, Brandon.
And those points right there from the Buccaneers was put up by Miss Chelsea Bishop, and she moves to the free throw line for her first appearance there tonight.
Well, Brandon, we look at the free throw percentage for the Florida Southwestern Bucks. It's right around 66.8%. A respectable number. They make around 11 out of 16 free throws. Now, for the Hawks, when we talk about them, when they get to the free throw line, they've already been there a couple of times tonight. They're a little bit better. They're 70.6% conversion. About 12 attempts out of 17 attempts. So The free throws, attempts-wise, are about the same, but the Hawks convert more than the Bucks, Brandon.
And in a game where you're within a possession or two the entire time, you're 1 point, 3 point, right there, stolen ball from Miss Nina Green there by number 3, Miss Amelia Williams. Good steal. Those are those types of things that when Coach Springs gets on the sideline and he starts talking about those little mistakes, those are what can blow a game, just because you lose that moment of focus and all of a sudden you're losing 2 points when you would have been closing the gap and making it a 18-18 game there.
Brandon, I think we've said this before, and I don't. It's been just the same story over and over again. A hot start for the Hawks, keeping up with the Bucks. In the second quarter, they just don't have it for some reason. And again, we're seeing it here. They're starting to give up those points. Now they're down by 3 in the second quarter. So let's hope that they can regain that confidence that they had at the beginning of the game and keep up with the Bucks.
Yeah, and we were anticipating the physicality because we've always watched the Hillsborough Hawks get out there and get physical with it. The thing that's changed the most tonight is I'm going to reiterate the refocus that they're out there and the way that the defense is playing. Right now, if you're the Buccaneers and you're taking a look at it as Miss Danica Ballard there puts up 3 points there, going, and now 19-19. With that, this is where we've really got Miss Nina Green gets her own steal. Now her steal on the night as she makes up. Now this is where, if you're Coach Springs, you're happy that your defense got the steal, but what do you walk away with? When it comes to a game like this, you have got to take advantage of every little thing that comes up that way.
Yeah, and Brandon, something that we have not focused on a little bit is turnovers. That's when we just talked about that. That's sometimes what happens when they get the ball is a turnover. Hillsborough averaging 13 turnovers a game. Florida Southwestern averaging 18 turnovers a game. So the Hawks not turning it over as much as the Bucks, but again, we just talked about it. What happens? What do you want to get out of that when you have the offensive possession? What do you have in that little middle half of the court when the offense has the ball? Is it going to be a point? Is it going to be three-pointers, free throws, or is it going to be a turnover? That is a question that is going to be asked all night tonight.
And this is one of those that when we're talking and we're taking a look at everything as it's coming, kind of unfolding here on the court tonight, if you're Coach Springs, you're really excited the way your defense has stepped up. If you're Coach Springs, you're a little bit hesitant about the way your offense is performing right now because you've already had a steal, you've already had taking a look at the missed opportunities off of the steals, not putting points. You and I talk about little mistakes, the little things that are going to be the difference makers. I think this is going to be one of those games that it's going to come down to which defense begins to crack first.
Exactly right. And we talk about those little things. Oftentimes, it's just not going back to the fundamentals of the game. We talked about that too last week, going back to what works. If something's not working and you know it's not working, then just scratch it for a while. Try and not focus on the wrinkle and counters as much. Just focus on the fundamentals. And right now, it's a tie game, so you really have to try and find the balance within that, within the offense and the defense, as another foul is called here by the referees.
That whole play right there was a defensive steal from the Bucks, bringing it down over to this side of the court. And now it looks like we will be heading back to the free throw line with number 15, Miss Destiny Gordon, now stepping up to the line tonight.
Again, I think I just mentioned it, Brandon, but again, I'll reiterate it. Free throw percentage for the Bucks, 66.8%.
And that Miss Destiny is 1 for 1 now.
So that percentage is going a little bit up there.
Give a little bit of an uptick, and now 1 point lead. Another attempt is going to be inbound.
Yep.
And this is where you and I, we keep coming back down to this road. Is it going to be just those small mistakes that is going to be the difference in tonight's game at 21-19 in favor of the visiting Bucks?
if we look at the statistics, there we go, Melania Stevenson again. But if we look at the statistics, it shouldn't. It should be a tightly contested game that works out in the Hawks' favor. That's what the statistics say. But again, the last few games, the statistics haven't mattered. The Hawks have not played to the level that they know they're able to be playing at. But right now, it looks like 22-21 with the Hawks in the lead. It looks like the Hawks have finally found that confidence back to be able to play the game of basketball well.
And you can hear it on the broadcast. The stands are starting to come alive. Both benches are starting to come alive. And there's communication that is happening on the court that's starting to drown out our commentary here, because it's almost like the spirit is returning to the team. The spirit was a little bit broken down, had a little bit of a losing streak. But now you're seeing that spirit really start to come up and really show itself as they're attempting more free throws. They're going to the line more often. They're trying to get as much going as they can, because those wrinkles that we talk about, the more you introduce those, the more you could throw off your opponent, the funner it is, because you get to try new things and new swap-ups in the coverage and zone and stuff.
Yeah, and you always love to do that. You love to swap the zone and the man all the time. You love to try and just throw them off their game. But sometimes you just can't do that. Sometimes you have to be able to just play man and play on them. Try and just, battle them out physically. But also sometimes, Brandon, is that you can't be too physical. Lay back a little bit. Play a little bit of zone. Watch them shoot. Force them to shoot from the outside. Again, all these factors come together for a really good recipe for a solid playing game.
And as we're taking a look, I'm going to just... The attempts tonight we've probably seen double the attempts from the outside and not so much pushing in than we have seen from the Hawks in any amount of time. Melania Stevenson hard down to the line, and we keep saying her name tonight, and she is really just kind of being that on the court type leader. And as we've got a timeout here now, we're going to go ahead and get ready to send it over to Miss Madeline Rosa. Miss Maddie, take it away for us there.
Tonight with a 22-23. The Lady Hawks are down by 1 point, but they are not cutting any corners tonight. You can see the intensity. They're making sure that they're not missing any opportunity to make sure that they stay engaged in the game. So let's bring it back to you guys. Let's see what we have in store.
Perfect. And back here at the broadcast desk, this is a matchup that I knew it was going to be a good one. Yeah. I was excited about this game tonight, but I wasn't anticipating a 1 point back and forth type 1 possession, 2 possession game. I honestly thought that the Bucks were going to come out and put up the points early and then have the Hawks chasing the whole time. But this is, I'm really enjoying watching this one happen.
Well, everyone kind of knows me. I'm the statistics guy out there. So I was looking at it from a statistics standpoint, and I'm thinking the Hawks are going to be able to pull this one out. I'm thinking the Hawks are going to get off to a big run. Now, again, we've been seeing it week after week. The Hawks are struggling in the second quarter. Again, it's only a 1 point game right now. You've got a lot of basketball left to play. You stay within 3 points, I think. If they go into halftime either losing or winning by 3 points, I think Chris Springs has to be pleased, especially with them being a 4-game losing streak. And again, we talked about it. The Hawks have done their duties offensively. They averaged 68.3 points per game in that 4-game losing streak, which is right around their season average. But the problem is the defense hasn't been able to hold. They're not being able to hold their opponents well. They're not being able to try and stop them from outside shooting. They're converting too many three-pointers. So the defense is starting to play well. And again, the offense coming through, Brandon.
Number 5, Khalees Smith puts 2 up, and that right there, up under the net, that fight, that offensive rebound converted to points. That's what's been missing out of the Lady Hawks as of late. The defense wasn't stopping the drives hard enough, and they weren't under the net enough to get those offensive rebounds for points. Again, I keep reiterating, it's like a completely different focus for the Hawks here tonight. Ms. Nina Green on a little bit of a breakaway pass to the outside. Coming around, number 23. Good no-look pass up underneath. 23, Miss Melania Stevenson to number 5, Khalees Smith. We got a timeout that we're going to get ready to call. Man, Miss Maddie, what are you seeing over there as this is picking up now? Take it away for us.
this is literally the game that you want to be here for, seeing the intensity building up. 26-23, Lady Hawks are up. We're not losing tonight, and I hope that that's the energy that they're having out there at the court. Back to you guys.
So we have our prediction there from Miss Maddie.
Yep.
She's predicting that tonight's going to be a win. I'm going to be honest. I think if we win, I'm going to say it's by no more than 2. I think it's going to be one of those games tonight that is just going to be an offensive defensive struggle, both sides of the ball, kind of like we saw in the Super Bowl. Which defense and who's going to make the fewest mistakes to make points are at a premium, my friend, as you like to say. You know,
exactly
I'm gonna put that on a T-shirt for us to wear while we broadcast. Points at a premium. But as we're getting ready for the inbound, that's exactly what it is tonight. You're going into the second, almost to the half at the end of the second quarter. You've played almost 7 minutes or about 6 minutes already. So at this point, each team has got to be going back to the bench saying, hey, this is anybody's game. All it takes is one little breakaway, one little moment as we're watching this zone defense here.
Oh. I tell you, the intensity of that drive right there had Chris Springs waving his arms. You could probably see it on the broadcast. He was really animated there. He is just, I think he really is loving how his Hawks are playing tonight. It really is, you know, again, they're not playing too physical. They're not playing too relaxed. They're finding that sweet spot right in the middle to be able to play the game of basketball well. And that's something that they've been looking for the past couple of weeks. And Madeline already gave us the prediction. The Hawks are going to win tonight. So I think I would agree with her. But, Brandon, I'm going with you. It's going to be by 2 points or less.
Yeah, it's right there, number 11, Miss Ariel Mark going up to the line, going 1 for 2 on that one.
But is it going to come down to free throws or three-pointers, Brandon?
If it does, I'm going to say it will in favor of the Bucks, because just this quarter, looking up at the scoreboard above, offensive rebound set to the outside now. Pass over to Miss Nina Green, driving to the inside hard, goes up, puts up 2. Right there now, opening the lead, 28-24. The only reason I hesitate to say that it's going to be a free throw game is because looking just even in this quarter, the Hawks have fouled 5 times. Conversing over to the Bucks, they've only gone once to this quarter. So now up for 2 at 28-26 now, Hawks lead.
Well, and another way to put that is we haven't seen that many. We haven't seen that many free throws so far tonight, and it's been great. We've been seeing them run up and down the court, timeouts called at the appropriate time. We've been seeing just an amazing game of basketball so far, and especially the Hawks with a 2-point lead. Again, we said 2 points or less. It could come down to that, Brandon. I agree with you.
And the only reason I say that it could come down to those free throws is because right now the way that the Hawks are outpacing the fouls compared to the Bucks, each time you go to the line, you're giving up those points. That can make that 5-6 point lead shrink to a 1 point or a tie game really quick. Moving around outside court, number 11 puts it up just off. And that's one of those that if the Buccaneers begin to start dialing in those three-pointers through the second half, that's going to be trouble for the Hawks out there, because there is so much room on the outside allowing for these shots to be taken that even if they start coming back up to their 30% range, that's a lot of 3 points on the board.
I tell you what, though, I love it. I love the technique. The Hawks are saying, listen, go take your three-pointers. Give us all the 35.5% that you convert. Show us what you got, and they haven't yet. They have not converted those three-pointers so far, and again, we're almost almost a full half into this game already as we see head coach Chris Springs very animated out on the court, trying to coach his young ladies to a win here tonight to snap their 4-game losing streak.
Minute 14 on the clock. Little bit, these hard drives, Coach Springs really getting into it tonight, trying to motivate his team. And he's probably a little bit more animated than he has been over the past few games that we've seen. He wants to get back into that positive win column here tonight.
And I want to say this, though. I think he's more animated tonight for more of the right reasons. I think in the last few games he's been animated with anger. He's been animated with frustration. His players not executing executing. He's animated with confidence right now. He's animated with the juice, the adrenaline that they're in the lead. They're looking to snap that 4-game losing streak. They've got a 4-point lead as we come up to a minute left in the first half. And it looks like the Hawks are going to get the ball back, Brandon.
Change of possession, just tapped to the outside. And I agree with you. You used, I believe the wording you used was, he's angry for the right reasons. You and I have gone through, and we've talked about the accolades of Coach here. He's had so many championships. He knows what it takes to get to that championship level. And that's how he gets them there.
Wow.
Look at these quick passes around.
Boom.
Sunk to the outside there. Number 2, Miss Ariana Vieira coming up with a 3-pointer there late in the second. 40 seconds left on the clock. 33-26 game.
I'm looking right now. I see head coach Chris Springs. I see assistant coach Hunter Zobar, but also number 4, Danica Ballard is up screaming and shouting at her own team. They really want Serenata Rocky now standing, trying to give their team an encouraging word. They really want this win, Brandon, and I'm pumped right now. I tell you this.
I almost dare to say this is one of those that I am tired of losing in my own house. Stop making me lose at home. This is supposed to be my gymnasium, my school. This is what we're doing. You are really starting to see there as was that number 23 Melania Stevenson there as we are going in now. 36-26 in the half. We're going to kick it over to our sideline correspondent, Miss Maddie. Take it away.
Good. Oh my goodness, what a game. 33-26 with the Lady Hawks up. This is definitely not the game you want to miss. I know that my co-commentators over here had said that we may win by 2 points. I think we're probably going to get a little bit more points than that tonight. So I'm hoping that this break between the second and the third quarter gives them their energy so that we can see more of this on the court tonight. Back to you guys.
Thank you for that, Miss Maddie. Ben, as we're sitting here, let me just be completely honest as we give a quick little halftime break here in the action of the first of a doubleheader tonight for the Hillsborough College Hawks here on the Hawk TV on YouTube live broadcasting. Thank you everyone who's tuning in. Mr. Tilley, my goodness, sir. That right there was a brand new Hillsborough Hawks than we have seen over the past 2-3 weeks here in the gym.
That's exactly right. I mean, just look at what they have been doing so far. Offensively, defensively, they have been nailing it in every facet of the game. You look at it from a point standpoint, 36-26, they're leading by 10. Just again, we can't stress this enough. Offensive points are at a premium.
Yes.
The Hawks are making it look really easy tonight on the offensive side of the ball. And the most important thing is, Brandon, while the offense is doing its part, the defense is doing its part. They're not letting they're not letting the Bucks take the outside shots. They're not letting them get those, inside easy field goals, easy layups for those easy 2-point conversions. They're not fouling as often either for those free throws. They're not letting them score that many points, and that's why they have a 10-point lead, and I think that's why the Hawks are going to win tonight.
For me, watching this defense step up, watching the rebounds, watching the possession struggle, watching everything that's happening, as we start to wind down here at our little halftime breakdown point, I'm going to say keep the mistakes to a minimum. Keep them off the free throw line. And if you do that and you maintain your speed and your zone coverage, I think that the Hawks walk away with the win tonight. But we will be right back here live from the Dale Mabry Gymnasium for Hillsborough College in Tampa, Florida, after a brief break for ourselves. We will see you guys here shortly before tip-off into the second half.